What is up people, welcome back to the channel. So the last video we went through exactly how to set up your calories to achieve the fat loss that you want. So now we need to delve into the macros. So the macros are what is going to make up your calorie balance. And the way you have those calories split up can make achieving your goal a little bit easier, but it can also be very important for things like muscle mass retention and keeping up training performance in the gym. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So macros are our macronutrients. Macro generally means big nutrients. They're going to take up the biggest proportion of our diet versus the micronutrients, vitamins and minerals. So we need macronutrients in vast quantities relative to these micronutrients. So the main ones that we have are going to be protein, carbs and fat. Alcohol could be also classed as a macronutrient, but we're not going to talk about that because it's just irrelevant to who I hope this video goes out to. So these macronutrients, they have a caloric value. Now, with our protein and carbs, they are around 4 calories per gram. With fat, it is around 9 calories per gram. Now, the reason I say around is because depending on what type of actual protein, carb or fat you're taking in, these numbers can slightly vary. You could be looking at fats that could be as low as 7 calories per gram, all the way up as high as 12 calories per gram. Similar with the protein and carbs, you could be going down to ones that are 2 calories per gram, all the way up to 6 calories per gram. So we're going to think about what the average is here, because otherwise it would just be a nightmare for actually trying to track anything. So we're taking the average with kind of sources if you don't know what these look like. So with a protein source, it is going to be something like your meat, dairy, eggs, whey protein. Carbs could be rice, pasta, potatoes or cereals. With the likes of fats, they are going to be oil, nuts, seeds or butters, right? There's obviously more, but I'm not going to go into all the food sources in this video. I just want to give you a rough idea as to what these macros look like. So when it does come to adjusting our macros to fit our calorie intake, things that we really want to prioritize is going to be like the protein for muscle mass retention, as well as keeps us full and keep us satiated. Next thing we want to do is ensure that we have enough carbohydrates in the diet to ensure that we're optimizing training performance. Then fat intake is going to be very important to ensure that we keep our hormones regulated, things like testosterone, estrogen if you're a female. How we split this up does matter in regards to you actually having the easiest time possible to lose body fat and get the best results possible. So we're going to go into how you should actually calculate that now. What we're going to do is we're going to use an example from our last video on how to actually estimate your calorie intake. We're going to use John, who was about 80 kilos. He wanted to lose 8 kilos over 12 weeks. And we estimated his calorie intake to lose that was going to have to be 2,370. To actually find out what macros he needs to use, we are going to first set our protein, then our fat, and then use the remaining calories for carbs. How do we do that? And what type of ranges should we aim for? When we're setting our protein intake, we want to set that first because it's going to be the most important element of the diet when it does come to muscle mass retention. With that, we have a big range here. So we have 1.6 to 2.7 grams per kilogram of body weight. Which end of the range should we use? If you are starting off with very low calories, I'd probably advise that you go for the low end. One of those reasons being is because that allows you to take up more of your calories coming from carbohydrates. And on the flip side, if you want to remain as satiated as possible and you want to try stave off hunger as much as you can, then erring towards the higher side can help. Generally what I do recommend people do is go towards the middle end of the range, around 2.2. And then from there, if hunger gets too crazy, you can push it up. If calories get too low, that we need to prioritize carbohydrates for training performance, we'll bring the protein down and bring the carbohydrates up. But we're always going to set protein first. So with John, we take his body weight. His 80.3 was his body weight. We multiply that by 2.2. And then we get 176 grams per day that he needs to eat for protein to ensure that he optimizes muscle mass retention, optimizes muscle protein synthesis, keeps himself full. So with that 176 grams of protein, that is about 704 calories worth of food. But after that, we're going to set our fat intake. So one of the reasons why we set fat intake next is, well, we just want to ensure that we have as much carbohydrates as possible, but also to ensure that we have enough dietary fat within the actual system to maintain a healthy functioning body. So with setting our fat intake, we're going to go for about 15 to 35% of our total calories. 15% is at the very low end, and I would not recommend somebody goes towards this unless they are in like the depths of like a photo shoot prep or a competition prep, because this is literally the minimum recommended allowance, and below that you could run into some health issues. So 15 to 35% of your total calorie intake is a good range to aim for, and I recommend again people aiming for somewhere in the middle. So with John, we're going to go for about 25% of his total calorie intake is going to come from dietary fat. So we're going to take 2370, multiply that by 0.25, that is going to give us 592 calories, and that comes to 66 grams of dietary fat when we divide this number by 9. So the remaining calories are all going to come from carbohydrates. We have 2370, which are our deficit calories. We have our calories from protein, our calories from fat. We're going to take them all away from our total calories. We're going to get 1074, and from there we're going to divide it by the calorie content of a gram of carbohydrates, which is 4. And that's going to give us 269 grams of carbohydrates. Now John has found what his calories are. We found what his macros are. Pretty simple. He's going to aim for 2370. That is going to help him to ensure that he loses 8 kilos over 12 weeks. He's going to aim for 176 grams of protein, 269 grams of carbs, and 66 grams of fat on a day-to-day basis. These numbers are just approximations, and to be honest, when it comes to actually trying to hit these numbers to the gram, I'd probably recommend most people have some kind of range that they're hitting their macros to, because trying to aim for 176 on the button every single day, well, depending on the types of food you're eating and the variance between calories in the packaging and the calories on the food that you're taking in, there could be a little bit of discrepancy. So when it comes to actually trying to adhere to a diet and adhere to these numbers, having a range of about 10 to 20 on your protein and carbs and about 5 to 10 on your fat is going to ensure that you have some wiggle room, and it's not going to cause you to become overly neurotic on hitting exact numbers. But that is pretty much exactly how to set up your macros. Now in the next few videos we're going to go over more the qualitative aspect in regards to how to actually set up the diet to make sure that it's really easy for you, but as well how to pick the best food sources to make sure that you're staying on track and make your diet a hell of a lot easier. If the video helped, make sure to like, share, leave a comment, give me some feedback, and let me know what type of videos you want to see in the future.